Okay, good morning, everyone. Good morning po, Dean, and good morning, classmates. This morning, I'm going to discuss to you my topic, which is market entry strategies. But before we go on the discussing, I prepared a short introduction on what we're going to talk about. There are a variety of ways in which a company can enter a foreign market. As they say, no one market entry strategy works for all international markets because there will be a number of factors that will influence your choice of strategy, including, but not limited to, the tariff rates, the degree of adaptation of your product required, the marketing, of course, and the transportation cost that we need to consider. Okay, let's start from the definition of market entry strategy. It is the planned method of delivering goods or services to a target market and distributing them there. One of good example or one of the major example is importing or exporting services. Later on, i-discuss ko yung mga types of strategy briefly, but before ko i-discuss lahat yun, there are basic issues that we need to consider in order for us to know how to enter into a new market. One of the issues is marketing. We need to consider it what country, what segments, how to manage, how to enter. With that information, let's proceed to number two, which is sourcing. Is it whether to obtain the products, gagawin ba natin, or bibili natin? Number three is investment and control. Joint venture, global partner, or acquisition. After these issues na makonsider natin, doon pa lang tayo makakapasok into a new market. And these are the steps. Number one is identify your target market. One of the most important that we need to know when we run a business, a small or big business, is the location of your customers and also the psychographics of our customers, including their interests, including their behavior, their beliefs, and their values. Number two is conduct market research. We need to assess the current market situation, determine the market size, examine the market trends, identify the competitors, and understand the local laws and regulations. I just want you to give a quick example regarding this conduct market research. Nung dumating sa atin yung COVID sa Philippines, nag-declare si Digong, if I'm not mistaken, March 15 or March 14, 2020. Alam natin nagkaroon ng shortage ng mask and alcohol. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, the Sanmig Corporation, we know Sanmig Corporation is a brewery company na gumagawa sila ng beers. But dahil alam nila na nagkaroon ng shortage ng alcohol, I think one of their plans convert it from beer sa nagagawin is alcohol, which is applicable to this market research. They examine the market trends and assess the current market situations. Okay, number three is we're going to choose a market entry strategy. Diyan tayo magpo-focus and di-discuss ko yung mga types later on. Last is to create a business plan. I believe we discuss to ng classmates natin later on sa mga topic medyo bandang dulo yata. Okay, let's proceed to the types of market entry strategies. Number one is exporting. Exporting can be defined as the marketing of goods produced in one country into another, and it is considered as the most traditional and well established form of operating in foreign markets. One good example is San Miguel Corporation. According to my research, San Miguel is the largest brewery with a market share of over 95%. And sila pinakamalaki dito sa Pilipinas. Ah, Bigyan ko lang kayo ng example nung punta ako ng Taiwan last 2019 is may nakita ko Taiwanese. I think that's 9 p.m. Medyo gabi na yun. At meron siyang dalang isang case ng San Miguel Pilsen. And I was like, dude, where did he get that? So, ganoon ka-known yung San Miguel Corporation, especially ang alam ko yung Pilsen from other countries. Okay, then importing naman. Yung uh, importing. One good example is lahat naman siguro tayo is nakapunta na sa Divisoria. And we believe that most of the products there is made in China. So, kung pagbawalan man na mag-import tayo is sigurado sarado yung Divisoria. Let's proceed to the advantages and disadvantages of exporting. It is less risky than overseas base and reduces the potential risk of operating overseas. Kasi mas control natin kung nandito mismo sa bansa natin. Disadvantages is lack of overseas agents and control has to be weighed against the advantages. And export taxes, tariffs, and quotas. Next is franchising. Franchising is the practice of using another firm's successful business model. In terms of distribution, the franchisor is a supplier who allows an operator or a franchisee to use the supplier's trademark and distribute the supplier's good. Lahat naman tayo, kilala natin yung McDonald's, no? And isa sila sa mga successful na mga franchise dahil kahit saan tayo punta, maraming McDonald's. And I think sila globally, isa sila sa mga successful. And locally is, I think, Jollibee. Okay, the advantages and disadvantages of franchising is advantages is freedom of employment, proven products and services, their trademark, and reduced risk of failure. And disadvantages is tingin ko napapansin natin or nagkakaroon tayo ng mga comment regarding this is the bad performances by other franchises may affect your franchise reputation. And the means on ongoing sharing of profit with the franchisor. Now let's proceed to licensing. Licensing, it is the method of foreign operation whereby a firm in one country agrees to permit a company in another country to use the manufacturing, processing, trademark, know-how, or some other skill provided by the licensor. One of the example is Disno Consumer Products. They're the biggest when it comes in licensing. Okay, some of us may nalilito regarding sa franchising and licensing. Gusto ko ring liwanagin pa kasi binasa ko to ng binasa. Okay, in franchising, you get the benefit of brand recognition and also a lot of support in the running of the business within a set system. You will run your business the way you're instructed to run it because the franchisor doesn't just retain control over the intellectual property. It also retains control over how the franchise business is operated. While at the other end, which is the licensing, where you pay for the use of intellectual property, you are free to run your business however you like. But the cons is They won't provide you with any support like site selection, the location, the training of the employees, or marketing. One example na pwede kong i-share is yung licensing ng Nestle and Starbucks. Nestle being the licensee and the Starbucks being the licensor. Ang agreement nila is exclusive rights to sell Starbucks products around the world through Nestle's global distribution network. Siyempre, additionally doon, ang Starbucks will receive royalties from the package, I think coffees and teas na binebenta ni Nestle. Okay, let's proceed to number 4. Oh, sorry, the advantages and disadvantages. Advantages is a good way to start in foreign operations and open the door to low-risk manufacturing relationships. And linkage of parent and receiving partner interest means both get most out of marketing effort. Disadvantages is limited form of participation to length of agreement, specific product, process, or trademark. And the potential returns from marketing and manufacturing may be lost. Okay, number 4 is the joint venture. A joint venture is an enterprise in which two or more investors share ownership and control over property rights and operation. It is a very common strategy of entering the foreign market. As you know, these cars is the BMWs and Toyota. I think this is Toyota Supra. BMW, I think this is the Fusion. Um, BMWs and Toyota partnership may easily be one of the most significant collaboration of the past decade. Their joint development of fuel cell system for future sports vehicle or for the future kung maubusan man tayo ng gas. Kung sino man yung may mahilig dyan sa sasakyan, they call this fuel cell system is hydrogen gas to power an electric motor. Imbis na gas yung magpapagana sa motor, they use hydrogen gas with a mixture of oxygen. Okay, advantages and disadvantages. Kung magjo-joint venture is they're gonna access new markets and lalaki yung networks nila. Lalaki rin yung capacity and nagsishare sila ng risk and cost and makaka-access sila ng new knowledge and expertise like the fuel cell system. The disadvantages is pag hindi masyado nagkakaayos yung dalawang company. Yung communication nawawala, nagkakaiba ng mga perspective and expectations. Also, the cultures and management styles may pose barriers to cooperation. Okay, next is turnkey projects. These are particular to companies that provide services such as environmental consulting, architecture, construction, and engineering. It is where the facility is built from the ground up and turned over to the client ready to go. Turn the key and the plant is operational. Okay, ang example na ibibigay ko sa inyo is me as an engineer or an employee of National Housing Authority, NHA, which is a government-owned public housing projects. Kapag nagpapatayo kami ng mga housing projects na titirhan ng mga beneficiaries namin, is mag-hire kami o under bidding ng private developer that will undertake all activities necessary to producing the project, including land, the purchases, the permits, the plans, and the construction. Okay, let's proceed to number 6. Oh, sorry, the advantages and disadvantages. It will reduce the total time during the contractual process by having just one process instead of two separate ones. And similarly lower costs when integrating all the elements under one provider. Disadvantages is isa lang yung kliyente, involvement in various activities that are associated with the project. And the turnkey contractors may generate project budgets that are higher than necessary. Next is counter trade, considered as the largest indirect method of exporting. The UN defines this as commercial transactions in which provisions are made in one of a series of related contracts for payment by deliverers of goods and or services in addition to or in place of financial state settlement. Okay, the example is McDonnell Douglas. McDonnell Douglas is a former aerospace company na binili ni Boeing na meron silang agreement with the US government. Ang offer ni US government is the advanced technology while the Boeing is they're gonna transport all the goods and services na kailangan ng US government. Ang counter trade is like bartering. It is a direct exchange of goods and services with an equivalent value but with no cash settlement. Isa pang halimbawa is yung sa India and Iraq. Yung which is yung Iraq is rich sa oil. Ang India naman is wheat and rice. So oil in exchange of wheat and rice. Okay, next is the advantages and disadvantages of counter trade. A major benefit of counter trade is that it facilitates the conservation of foreign currency. Iyon ang pinaka-advantage nun. Disadvantages is the variety is low, so marketing is limited, difficult to set prices and service quality, and the consistency of delivery and specification. Okay, last is the Greenfield Investments. It is where one buy the land, build the facility, and operate the business on an ongoing basis in a foreign market. This is certainly the most costly and holds the highest risk, but some markets may require to undertake those due to government regulations, transportation costs, and the access to technology or labor. One example is the Mercedes-Benz in Pune, India. Okay, minsan may nalilito pa rin kung ano yung franchising and greenfield investments or some may call greenfield franchising. Ang pagkakaiba nila, depende sa tao. One of the great things about buying into a franchise system is that you're buying into a tried and true business system that has already proven its worth, which ultimately means less risk. But if you're the type of person who takes or likes a little risk, choose greenfield investment that you're gonna you will be building a franchise into a brand new area. Because Mercedes-Benz, I know parang nanggaling siya sa Europe, but this is the first time na nag-source out sila sa Pune, India, which is a brand new area. So, yun ang ibig sabihin ng greenfield investments. The advantages, high level of control over business operations. Ito ang gusto ng mga ibang businessman, kontrolado nila mula umpisa hanggang dulo. High control over brand image and staffing, the quality control, the manufacturing, sales of products and services. And the disadvantages is extremely high risk investment. A greenfield investment is the riskiest form of foreign direct investment, potentially high market entry costs, and the government regulations that may hamper foreign direct investments. That's all. Thank you po.